Hey, what's good, my friends? Thanks for checking out the Open Decks podcast. This week, Ryan and I sat down with TimeRitual, an improvisational live loop performer. Recently moved to Austin, Texas. We talked to him about his early impressions of the electronic music scene there, as well as his individual journey and style preferences that have kind of led him to where he is now and what he's got planned for the future. A couple of programming notes at about the 17-minute mark. There's a technical discussion with some visuals of TimeRitual's setup. So obviously, if you're on the audio only, listen through, we won't have the visuals for that. Also, we had a glitch with our video this week, so if you're on YouTube, there will be mostly audio only with the flyover and images and visuals during that technical discussion only. Again, this is our conversation with TimeRitual. Great insights on his journey so far, and can't wait for you to check this one out. Thanks for listening in, and enjoy.
I'm super new to Austin. I just got there in January, and then I came back here for a couple weeks. Then I'm going back. But since I got there, I've been kind of exploring, the techno scene. And kind of like any city, like how you're saying, there's big clubs with big sound systems. Yeah. But then there's collectives that are a little bit more underground. Like I went to one show that was in downtown, and this collective, what they do is they'll play in different spots. Like they'll play at warehouses, and then the show I went to, it was they went to this old. It was basically like a spot that was up for lease. Mm-hmm. That used to be a club, but it's kind of like old and not touched up. And they just brought their whole sound system in there, and they made a stage and had a DJ, and it was really dope. And they had really good techno. It was kind of like started out disco in the beginning, and then they kind of went to harder techno. But it was really cool to see that. Because the stage was really cool. I mean, when you first walked in, they had like all these old retro TVs playing VHS and stuff like that. But that was really the extent of the decoration. So it felt very DIY.
So it's like kind of like the Andy Warhol, like the factory, that sort of like that aesthetic. Yeah,
and it was really dark. I mean, I had my sunglasses on. I could barely see. Like it was like people were like knocking into each other's stuff. But yeah, it's cool.
A lot of black shirts.
Yeah.
Techno.
Yeah.
Do you find, so you said January, so this is a few months, right? It's only been a few months you've been there.
Yeah.
As you kind of get to know or get to explore, and again, I'm not going to assume that you've dedicating all of your time to it, but are there things that are surprising you about the scene in Austin, like as you're just getting to know it, or is there things that are kind of jumping out as like, oh, I didn't expect that, like?
Yeah. I think so. Yeah. I mean, it's just going to a new city. I didn't know anyone there. I mean, I'm there with my girlfriend, and we're kind of both exploring the city together, kind of like meet new people and experience new things. So, yeah, I mean, it's just the kind of route I've been taking is just going on resident advisor, and then I found one event through there, and then from that one event I met a couple people in the scene. They're DJs, and actually at that show I was telling Ryan that it was an outside stage, and they're playing live techno with hardware and things like that. And then after that I started talking to them, and then they recommended me that warehouse show or the show that I was telling you about. So it's what I've learned, and I'm not super surprised by this, but it's more of just like realization that you just have to get out into the scene. Yeah. You have to find shows quick, and just be open to meeting people, just asking questions. Like I remember at that show there was a DJ playing, and he was inside, and there was like the outside stage. So I was watching him DJ, and then a couple hours later, I walked outside and I saw him sitting down. I said, "Hey, man, that was a great set." And then we started talking, and then that's how I met all these other DJs. And then it's kind of just blossomed from there, where I was out. They were telling me about all these things to go do, and all the collectives to follow, stuff that you would never really have known about unless you asked questions from locals.
Yeah, it's. I think in a lot of places we're finding the same thing, where especially if you're not necessarily looking at, hey, what's the 2 or 3 venues that a given city like has at the forefront, like you go find somebody, I think they appreciate that you like found them, right? Like you're making the effort to actually like get into the scene. That's You been to Austin? You been down there yet?
Well, yeah, it's like for real. Like I just go there for IPAs. Barbecue and IPAs. Yeah. So more of the clubs, not so much. Yeah,
not so much. Yeah, fair enough.
Right.
Fair. Have you been? Have you performed down there yet? Have you been like doing anything like formally or on any lineups or any underground stuff you've been doing?
Not yet. I would like to soon.
Yeah.
I've been. The last couple of months, I've been kind of taking a step back from performing and just kind of honing my sound.
Yeah.
And like I mentioned, I was talking to you guys earlier, just listening to music that I really like and I appreciate. Good quality, good sounding, like kind of wide sounding music.
Yeah.
And trying to recreate that. A lot of that's just learning about production and learning about the different plugins in Ableton. So I've been kind of doing that and preparing for the shows I have coming up, but nothing yet in Austin, but I would like to soon for sure.
Yeah, well, it's something, you just got there, like we'll have to keep in touch about Austin because I again, one of the things that we really want this conversation, this whole series to accomplish.
Austin, and what was the other plug that we thought about when you were talking about earlier? We said Denver. You brought it up.
Denver.
Yeah, we can talk about Denver for sure. That's valuable.
No, it's funny because we brought this up a couple weeks ago. Denver has, again, surface level, but it's the bass capital, right? It's it definitely pops out. At the same time, like I've been to a few events there the last couple of years, not a lot, but it's definitely a city where I'm curious, right? Like I don't know if you know Deep Dub guy from Baltimore, Trekka. It just happened to be there when I was in town in Denver for something not music related, and popped in. And I'm going to regret not remembering the name of the club. I will get back to it, but has a very well organized, very well polished like DJ battle. And dude flew out from Baltimore to Denver, flew back like overnight. And ended up winning his first round. But it's very cool that there's these things happening in any given city where I would have never found it had I not known that he was there. Or somebody I knew was on the lineup or that night I would not have known. But I feel like there's so many of those hidden gems in any given place. I know Denver, Austin, whatever.
Yeah, spill it out for us, man.
Yeah, man. What's you said rabbit hole. I mean what's Denver for you?
Yeah. Well, I was only there for I visited there periodically, but the longest I lived out there was for a month, just taking an Airbnb. But during that time I was just trying to find the music scene out there. I mean, one of the coolest things I experienced was the church.
Yeah, I've been to the church. Yeah, I like that place.
You've been there?
You been to church?
No.
Oh, the church is great, man. Yeah.
That's that place is really dope. I felt like I was, I don't know, it felt like a Guitar Hero stage.
It is. Yeah, it's very. Yes. Right.
Like you feel like you're playing Guitar Hero there or something like that. Like a DJ.
They do. In the events that I've been to there, a couple events. Good crowd. It's one of those places it's known now. It's known for that, right? It's not it's not a gimmick. It's a really good venue, great sound. That's awesome. Do you mind if I ask who was on the lineup for you there?
I'm trying to remember his name. He plays melodic techno and he's on on the Afterlife.
Oh, Afterlife type of person. Okay.
Yeah. I can't remember his name, but it sounded amazing. Yeah. I went to that show for a friend of a friend.
Okay.
Was playing in the basement. It was kind of like bass and dubstep.
Yep.
Hence the basement.
Right.
And then I was there listening to the bass music and it was really cool. I mean, I had never really been to a bass show, or it might have been one of my first. And it was cool to see the people's enthusiasm for bass music.
Yeah.
And then I realized, okay, I'm in the bass capital of the world. This is where there's gonna be people really passionate about bass music. And then I went upstairs to hear the techno set, and that was really really amazing too. The sound system's great, and just really cool being in a church. I mean, it's like an old Gothic church.
It's very cool. It's like the stained glass.
Stained glass statues.
But it's large. It's large, intact in the sense that there's a bar and DJ booth, but you're in a church, right? You're inside. It's not it's just blacked out.
this is definitely a church. Like, this is wild, right? Like,
Yeah.
how this, it's very cool. I plug for the church. Right?
You forgot the
That's mental note.
Yeah, and there's really cool natural reverb there too, because it's a church. So, I mean, like, yeah, I mean, it's just nicely done.
Yeah, that's cool, man. I like that place. The other place I've been in Denver was to Temple, for tritonal and Audient, actually. So, like, weirdly enough, I saw tritonal and Audient at Temple in Denver, and the next day flew back home and I saw them at Echo Stage.
What?
Oh, nice.
Yeah, very like totally random, but like
Yeah.
Tritonal has their sound. They got a really great story. Those two guys, like how they've like evolved their music and evolved as people over the years. And then Audient, of course, like he's like he's actually one of the reasons I got into like electronic music. Just,
Oh, really?
No. And what's your influences? Like, what producers? Like, what has been like? This is who's your Mount Everest? Not Mount Everest, but you're like, what do you call the what's the other mountain? What is it? The
Mount Rushmore.
Mount Rushmore.
Oh, Mount Rushmore.
Mount Rushmore. My bad. Yeah.
Work on our geography.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mount Rushmore for electronic music.
Yeah, electronic music, like your big run. Yeah.
Oh man, that's tough. One would be definitely Robert Liner. He goes as he's performed as Robert Liner, but he also goes as like the Source Experience.
Okay.
So he's a big techno guy from Sweden that I really love. Another one I really love. I want to say this is my Mount Rushmore because it kind of is always changing, but I'll just tell you artists kind of that I've been listening to recently. Colin Benders.
Yeah.
He's a big modular guy, and I feel like his sets are just so raw and intense. He's able to operate such a complex machine and create just amazing music out of it. Like that inspires me so much. Another person that got me really into live looping is this guy named Tribal Need. I don't know if you guys have heard of him, but no. He's from Italy, and what he does, he goes around Italy and wherever part of the world he is, and he'll perform live looping. He has like a little keyboard. He has this little drum. He has like a very minimal set, but he always has a big crowd of people around him, and he'll make the music. I think mostly it's improvised, and that inspired me a lot to get into live looping.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah, I figured when it came to like music box, I thought this was like, you didn't pre-make this, you just improvised the whole time. Yeah. It's all. And so I can kind of give you a little bit of background, like in terms of improvising. When I grew up in high school, I had musician friends. We played in bands together. It was kind of like a revolving door. Like I would be in one band, and then one band would be like one band, and I'd be in another band, and then it was kind of all like we'd all just be in each other's bands. Yeah. But a big thing that we would do is we would all go to jam parties, where there'd be a drum set, guitars, bass, amplifiers, microphones, and there'd just be tons of musicians there, and we'd all just work on our improvisational chops there. Yeah. So that's where I kind of honed my skills of kind of thinking quick and making decisions quick, because that's really what it is like making decisions and not thinking about it and getting into flow state.
Yeah, that's interesting. So when it's the inverse, I guess, of like loading track after track, like do you find that it's more or less kind of like not difficult, but like there are people who plan their sets, and there are people like me who just I'll figure it out when I get there, right?
Yeah.
But do you find that like improvisation to be like more natural for you, or do you think that like it's a challenge and it's less natural, but it's like kind of where you want to go? Like you know what I mean? Like it's
totally. Yeah. No, that's a really good question. I think I'm naturally more of an improvisational musician. That's kind of my root and what I'm naturally drawn to. I feel in the past I've tried to compose music and I have before, but I felt like it wasn't as fulfilling.
Yeah.
I feel more fulfilled when I'm kind of marrying the performance and the composition into one. So just doing it all live in the moment.
Do you like audit your performances? You look back afterward?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. It's like how an actor will like not want to watch himself. Like Johnny Depp will. I've heard interviews of Johnny Depp just never watching his own movies because he just feels so weird seeing himself on the screen. It's kind of like that where I'll listen to myself and be like, why did I add that reverb there? Like, what am I thinking, bro?
Yeah, super relatable as DJs. Yes, we were just like, God, no, don't even put that out there in the world. I want to completely go back in the time machine. It's like, but.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of crossover between DJing and live looping. I mean, it's all decisions, Yeah. And I mean, if you have a DJ set all planned, there's not as much. You kind of just know what you're gonna do. But Tommy, as you were saying, that you don't plan, right? You just kind of feel in the moment. You have to decide. You have to feel what the room is feeling. Yeah,
it's it's the room, it's yourself, and Ryan and I. A lot of times, Ryan and I, we do a lot of B2B, and Ryan plans a lot of sets. Like I've seen you certainly plan more than I do. Like I've seen you have like your 1 to 20 or 1 to 50 or whatever it is.
Yeah, the folders and things with like playlists.
I was like, what are you doing, man? Like, what's going on? Yeah. So we started working together a little bit more. It became it's not.
You have to have that trust factor. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. It's not like truly improvisational, but it is like saying, hey, I'm gonna wait and see where this goes before I make my next move. And it sounds like you're doing that like constantly and continuously, but also without the crutch of Ryan, partner or whatever. Yeah.
Well, you have to feed off each other, right? Like you have to like feel how the other person's feeling when you're performing, right? It's like very much a performance together.
For sure, and I've definitely had some B2B experiences where it's like you play a track, I play a track, or you play two and I play two, and that's really, it's fine if the music's good. It's kind of boring. Ryan and I
we kind of
get our hands. I already got 4 hands on the mixer, and he's put the track on. Like we just it's randomized, but it's also like there's no dirty looks if Ryan's like gonna like. Yeah. Cut the low or like just add some effect or whatever.
And plus, I've known you for a long time. I know your nuances. I mean, you know my nuances, so that helps. Yeah.
Right.
But it is improvisational in a sense. It's not, but it's nowhere near where you're at. So like, let's talk about like the performance itself. Like, what are you talk about your setup? Like, what are you using? Like, what's?
Oh yeah, let's look at the setup.
So I can just kind of go from each one. This is the APC 40. This came out in, I believe, 2012 or 2010. I got it in 2014 when I was just getting into Ableton. And I mean, this is essentially a MIDI controller. You can use it to control the knob or the volume, the master. Here you can control which tracks are armed or which ones are selected at any given time. So I've been using this more now that I'm getting used to it. So I'll typically like on 3 I'll have machine, and then if I need to go into 5, which I have kind of my drone sounds, I'll click 5, and then I'll manipulate it with these controls here. So going into these control the effects of the track or the channel here that's selected. So I can like adjust filters or add reverb or things like that. And then these up here, send A and B, I have connected to the Ableton sequencer. So I can send it MIDI data, I can change the pitch. And I'll typically have just 8, just to keep it simple, and I'll just create like a simple arpeggiator. And and then here, the sequence MIDI data is sent into the Delta Step A modular synth, which is it's a modular synth, and it has multiple modules here, and it's an all-in-one modular synth. So it has like LFO, oscillator, mixer, velocity controlled frequency. I believe that's what that VCF is. And so you can essentially design the sound you want. There's pitch here. You can create sine wave, square wave, things like that. And then with these wires here, you can control the different sounds. Like you can control the effects, and mostly I'm just kind of playing around with it and trying to learn like what the effects do. And then, as I mentioned, on channel 3 here, I have the machine. So I have the machine software, and then I control it with the machine 2. And with this, I mostly have percussive elements.
Right.
It's very, very velocity sensitive. So if I hit it very softly, it's a soft kick. Or if I really want to hit like a hard kick, I can press it really hard to give it more dynamics.
Oh.
And then here I just have a keyboard just for synth sounds.
Yeah. Is this your so is this like your setup for most of what you're doing right now, or are you traveling light?
No, this all fits in my suitcase right here.
Yeah.
So I bring me to Austin. The intent of it is to be very portable.
Right.
I can just like bring it with me.
But we said this last time, like just knowing what you're working with is like incredibly important. But
Knowing all the tools.
Yeah.
So when you guys are going between different controller decks or controller devices, is it kind of challenging to like remember what each one does? Because each venue has a different controller, right?
A little bit.
Between like what CDJ 2000s to an XZ.
Yeah, I mean most people are pretty much like the 2000 Nexus and 3000s now.
The Nexus Pioneers.
Yeah. Let's say we went to Eaton. I was like, I forgot about these.
I mean,
Nexus, but I loved it. I was just like, I love these like little.
At the end of the day, like the features are going to provide an avenue for you to be a little more expressive, but you still got to beat match, right? You still have to like
go through the basics.
The room, the vibe isn't going to show up on the deck. Like it's not going to show up on the controller, right? So you have to know
Big time.
I'm putting this track in at this time because that's the right track. And anything else you do from a technical perspective, I know I'm dumbing this down or making this sound like simplistic, but that's what it comes down to. Right. Now, when it doesn't work, when buttons are sticky or cables are loose, all those things tends to happen with older equipment, obviously. But we take good care of our stuff. We travel usually with an A9 and 3000s. Like that's kind of our normal setup.
Oh yeah.
But
the CDJ 3000?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Be prepared, expecting unexpected. There's sometimes equipment. Faulty
I mean,
things.
It is, right? You never really know. But it's the advantage what you could say with having your own stuff is like you don't show up to a club and they have this ready for you, right? You've got your stuff. You've got a certain level of like care and concern that goes into your stuff, and I think that's certainly. I'm sure it's an advantage for you, and I'm sure it like gives you the flexibility or confidence. We're gonna say it's like, yep, tonight's my performance, and I've got my stuff. I don't have to worry about like, hey, the Q button sticks on this one, right? Like,
yeah. I think the biggest concern is how to set it up.
Yeah.
Because when you go to a club or a venue, typically they'll have or they'll already have like a Pioneer setup or whatever. Yep. So it's the issue is how am I going to fit in here and how I flow into my set and then the person after me, because typically it's going to be like a DJ or something like that. How am I going to flow from my set into their set? So that's always a concern. But you're right. Like when I come, I know what gear I'm going to be playing, but sometimes there's random malfunctions.
What are you? Yeah, you mentioned kind of flowing from one performer to the next. Like genre wise, as just what kind of lineups do you typically find yourself either pursuing, or what do you find yourself? Who do you find yourself DJing with, or what DJs do you find in your lineup? I guess.
Well, recently I've been doing a lot of ecstatic dance and conscious dance types of events. So, kind of meditative dancing and conscious dance events. Those are really interesting. I like those. Those are more down tempo and slow. So like 100 to 115 or 20 BPM.
Yeah.
So I've been doing those recently, and
you're finding those in Austin.
I've been going to those events in Austin, and I'll probably eventually play at one too. But I mean, in May I'll be playing a Realized Meditation Center, which is in Maryland. That will be, I think, late the end of May. And then I'm also playing Wellfest. It's a festival out in Fredericksburg.
Okay.
I'll be playing music there, and it's like a kind of like a conscious wellness festival. But I mean, I would like to start getting into more techno shows. Like, that was kind of my.
That's where I was about to say.
Yeah.
I think that's like, man, I would definitely spot up when you do more or less the techno aspect of this. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I guess it's always how I'm feeling. Like some days I feel like just playing hard techno, and then other days I feel like playing more down tempo stuff. So I always worry that one day I'll play a techno show, but it'd be one of those days where I just want to play down tempo chill music. And it's like, oh, how can I play this right now? But
it's Sunday.
Also the preparation.
Let's tone down a little bit from the hard techno night.
Yeah, it's techno Tuesdays, right? Tuesdays are techno.
Yeah.
A couple days off, but techno Tuesdays with their guys Soho. Yeah, we're so you're back here in the area for Lucid Dream this weekend.
Yeah,
we talked a little bit about it before we started recording. Just how did you get kind of on the how did Lucid Dream come on your radar, and then how did you kind of get involved with that, and what are you putting together for the weekend?
So I think the first time I heard about Lucid Dream was I saw a flyer for it at Flash, and I think that's how it kind of came on my radar. This was probably like about a year ago, and then I think a couple months after that, I was just kind of going about my day. Then I went to Ecstatic Dance in Arlington, and I met my buddy Zach, who goes by Zenglish. And he's involved with Lucid Dream. He's one of the directors, and he's been helping John I orchestrate the whole festival. So he's very involved. But yeah, I met him at Ecstatic Dance Arlington, and we hit it off. We have similar interests about like meditation, spirituality, but then we also have interest in Ableton and live performance, because he does sound baths and sound healings, but he calls them soundscape journeys. So that's a whole rabbit hole, but like his performances are really awesome and really very meditative. And then we started just jamming together, and we had some performances with Art of Living, which is like a spiritual community in all over the world, but they have the national headquarters in DC. Yeah. And we had some kind of conscious dance events there at their their building, which used to be the Italian embassy. So it's like a really awesome space. And then we just started playing, and then they invited me to play at Dream Gatherings, which was kind of like the pre-party for Lucid Dream. And I played like a trance set there. It was like techno trance. And then after that, they just invited me to play Lucid Dream.
Awesome, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, it's definitely a unique kind of setup for what a lot of us are used to around here. Like I think they've got a unique concept. They've got a good space. I was there last year, and we talked about like the issue last year with the weather. I would have loved to stay up there all weekend. It was kind of a drizzly weekend, but at the same time, like you can see what they're trying to do, and I think you're gonna have a good weekend. I'm
excited for it there. Yeah, it's cool to have a festival like this in the area. Like a 2-day festival. It kind of reminded me of I went to Boomfest in Portugal. It was kind of like and we were talking about that.
We were just talking in relation to like our own version of Boom Festival.
Yeah, it's awesome to see that. Because it's a very European thing. It's like these types of festivals, I feel. So it's nice to see it happening in the DMV.
So you've got just tell us where and when your performances are at Lucid.
What date? What time?
Yeah, sure. On Friday, I'm playing at the Zenden, which is the chill lounge space. It's the place where you can kind of escape the loud music and recharge and talk to your friends, or also dance, of course, to some cool like ambient down-tempo improvised music. So Zach and I will be performing. Our group name is called Unfolding, because it's all improvised. We kind of got the name because like it's all the music is kind of just unfolding in front of us.
By the way, these are well thought out like names. Even TimeRitual system, just hits differently. Like as far as like a performer, like that draws you in somehow. Like the mystical element of that, the mystery, like that. We were just talking about how. We were talking about if he was a Marvel character, it'd be like, like you know, like Doctor Strange or something. Doctor Strange. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Yeah, it's a name that means a lot to me, and I'm glad you appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah.
So, Zendan, is that you got more performances, or are you just one?
So, yeah, we're playing as I'm unfolding a couple hours at the Zenden, and then the following day on Saturday, I'm playing on the main stage. I believe 3, and Zach and I will be performing as well.
Awesome. Yeah.
So, where can they find you on socials? And if you have a SoundCloud, Mixcloud, where can they find you?
Yeah, for sure.
Anything.
So, I mean, my Instagram is @TimeRitual, and if you go to my bio, I have a link tree with all my other social media stuff. Like I have a YouTube channel, and on my YouTube channel, I also have done like musical analysis. Like I'll analyze songs or performances, and then also have my other performances on there. Like I have some live jams and improvisational stuff. I have TikTok, SoundCloud, all TimeRitual.
Awesome. Yeah, great. Yeah, we'll make sure we get all the tags in the show notes wherever things get posted.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, of course, man. And well, thanks again, everybody, for listening in or viewing here at the Open Decks podcast. We've been talking to TimeRitual, Ryan Soho, and myself. Until next time, keep listening in. Yeah. Thanks, man. Thanks for coming.
Thanks
for having me. Appreciate it so much.
Thanks for your time.
This is the best part.
This is the best part.
Chugging beer and seeing what happens. I'm still learning the video part of this. Like,
I'm still learning geography apparently.
Mount Everest.
Mount Rushmore.
Pulling Tarantino, going back to
Exactly.
from the end to the beginning.
Yeah, how did we get here?
Yes, Christopher Nolan. Right. Just, yeah.